This is a Thunder Game Report.
Hi, I'm Randy Renner. Thunder and the Toronto Raptors coming up at the Peak in just a few minutes. Thunder, of course, with that big win down in San Antonio. We had a chance to talk to Scott Brooks before the game. Among the questions, I asked him if he was concerned at all about his team being flat tonight, so you'll hear his answer to that. Dwayne Casey, the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, had some interesting responses when I asked him if this is perhaps the best Thunder team we've seen in Oklahoma City. And Dwayne Casey talks about that incident between Perk and Joakim Noah the other night in the Thunder locker room. So here's what the head coaches had to say just a few minutes ago.
Well, he's obviously has gotten better over the summer. He's done a great job of getting us in our offense, and he has a knack to get inside the opponent's paint and score around the basket. I think he's doing a pretty good job also finding guys that are open. Those are areas that he's going to have to continue to monitor and have a good balance of scoring himself and also finding open shooters and rollers to the basket. But I think that area he will continue to improve on. But I like what he's doing. He has some good chemistry with our bigs in the second unit. So he's having a good start.
Scott, at the start of the season, you said that you hadn't figured out who's going to be the sixth man. I thought you were blowing smoke, but it turns out you really are playing Steven Adams, Collison, and Jeremy Lamb ahead of Reggie, but then you're leaving Reggie in there for most of, if not all, the second and fourth quarter. Do you prefer that, subbing him in late as opposed to early and letting him play the whole second and fourth?
Well, I just think we have a deep team. You know, we have guys that are ready to play NBA minutes. And this year, we probably have more than we've ever had that are not playing NBA minutes that probably deserve to play. But you only can play so many guys. You know, we've always played 9 or 10, but I would say this year all of our guys, including Hash and Andre, probably deserve to get some minutes here and there, but it's hard to find minutes. That's what good teams have to figure out, and the coaches have to figure out, and you have to just continue to build on sacrificing. Reggie's done a great job, but we feel that Jeremy has, Steven, Nick, and whoever goes into that lineup, whether I put him the first guy off the bench or the last guy off the bench, that I have confidence and the team has confidence in him. Some days, I mean, there's been games where Jeremy's played the last last minutes of the closing minutes of games, and there's been some days Fish has done that. Lately it's been Reggie, but I don't go into every game and say, okay, Reggie's going to be the guy that's going to play 16 straight minutes in the first and second quarter, and the third and fourth quarter. It's all a feel.
But I know you guys will just try to focus on imposing your style, but where are some areas that Toronto might challenge you tonight?
Well, they're a good offensive rebounding team. So we have to make sure, and that's something that we've focused on, and probably I would say we've gotten a little bit better with it. That's an area, and their backcourt is really good. You know, Lowry is a tough-minded pit bull type of guard that can attack the basket, can pressure on defense, and make some threes. And DeMar DeRozan is the king of the mid-range game, but he's also this year he stepped out. I think he's shooting over 3.5 threes a game and making 33% of them. And that's something he's never done in the past. So those are two of the areas that we have to focus on, their backcourt and also taking care of the basketball. You know, that's always a key. If you go behind our board, you'll see that it's always up there. Value the ball. I just try to change it up. Take care of the ball. Value the ball. Limit the turnovers. Low turnovers. If I say the same thing every time. Give me some more. You guys cherished. You guys are the writers.
When you get in a role like this, are you able to sit back and even take a little bit of time to appreciate it, or is it just the grind and on to the next game?
Well, there's no question. It's a grind, and the mental fatigue happens to not only our team, but every other team, not only to myself, but every other coach. You're working, you're grinding every ounce of energy, and physical and mental part of the game. It's grinding. There's no question. But you have to enjoy it. You have to be able to enjoy the process of going through it. Otherwise, you know, you're an old man and you didn't enjoy the journey. And I learned that a long time ago with playing with Olajuwon. He told us that during our championship run, enjoy the journey because it's going to go by fast. And we've always done that. I mean, I've always done that. I know we can't like pound our chest and say, we're on a 8-game or a 9-game winning streak, but you have to enjoy it. And I enjoy working with our guys and seeing their development and growth happen right in front of our eyes.
Russ said last night you guys are the best team in the league. Do you agree with him?
Well, record-wise, we are. He has a pretty valid point there, but we don't look at that. There's a lot of basketball left, 50 games left or so. A lot of basketball left. We still have a lot of things that we have to improve and shore up on. Our turnovers, our rebounding is always a concern, but we still want to get better. Individually, we want to have guys improve. We take pride in it, and individual improvement and team improvement.
Hey, Scott, last night, counting just competitive games, not blowout, it seemed like you kept Kevin on the bench in the fourth quarter later than I can ever remember. I think 5-12 left in the game, and you put him back in. Did you just like that, the way those 5 guys were playing?
Well, I kept him in the start the fourth quarter, and I felt that he was a little fatigued. I probably should have took him out right then. And then I took him out with, I think it was like 10, 20 on the clock, put Nick in, and then we made a nice little run. I was just reading the game at that point. Kevin is always, you always have Kevin in your back pocket, which is a pretty good player to have in your back pocket. But I knew that we were on a nice little run at that point, and sooner or later I was going to put him in. I just like the way we played. The Spurs, they challenge you so many ways, not only just the physical way, they challenge you the mental part of the game. And they made a couple of runs at us, and we battled back and stopped the run and even went on our own little runs there during that game, probably 3 or 4 times.
Feel like you stumped him or something?
What's that?
Feel like you stumped him or something?
No, I've done it in the past. Sometimes I've kept Kevin in throughout the fourth quarter. Sometimes I've taken them out into the third quarter. I just think it's a feel thing, and they all understand that everybody has to sacrifice, including Kevin. How great he is offensively and as a player, he still has to make sacrifices to the team. And Russell does the same thing. That's what makes us a really good team. Everybody has to chip in. It can't just be, the role players sacrificing their bodies and their ability to score. Everybody has to do that. And Kevin is he's willing to sacrifice.
With the big win last night, Scott, and then going to New York for Christmas, are you at all concerned about being flat tonight?
That's never been, I've never had to worry about that. It does happen time to time, but just from knowing our team, it's usually we come out with some pretty good energy, or if we don't, we usually find it through some substitutions or the bench play or an inspired defensive play by 1 or 2 guys. And so there's no question it was a very good road win against one of the top teams. And, Christmas is around the corner, so a lot of things can be a distraction, but you still have to take care of what's at hand, and that's the play against the Toronto Raptors tonight on home court.
Scotty, a lot of talk the last few days about status of the locker room, sanctuary, that kind of thing. Do you look see the locker room as a sanctuary? And it seems like that'd be a tough sell for anybody since you have to let us in both before and after the game.
That's definitely not my choice to let you guys in before and after. It's always been that way. We have NBA players are very prideful, and it's always been that way. And instead of going into our rules, but it's always been an NBA thing. You're very prideful in your locker room. You're prideful in your team. You're prideful with your organization and the city you play in. And we're no different than other 29 teams.
We've seen Jeremy not just shoot it, but make plays and defend. Where are some areas that he's continuing to get better as an all-around player?
Well, I think he has to continue to get better, not only on the court, but the mental aspects of the game, the games that we always challenge the guys in the film room, whether it's with me or the other coaches or the group. those are areas that he's going to continue to get better through the experiences, so we can not only tell him, we can show him of the areas that he's done well or the areas that he didn't do so well. And then in the strength, that continue to use our entire building. And I think it all encompasses a good product, and he's nowhere near a finished product, and we're excited about the opportunity, his upside, and I'm excited about continue to work and push him and to make him a better player.
Did opposing players ever come in your locker room when you were playing?
So long ago. It's long ago. You still think the fans really want to know about the story?
No, I'm just curious.
Fans are fascinated about the locker room, they never get to go.
Well, have them call me. I can give tours after the season. 405.
Dwayne, how's your team different since the trade?
That's a good question. I think we have more ball movement. We don't depend on one guy trying to create his own shot. Everybody depends on each other. The ball moves a little bit more, and that would be the biggest. With Rudy, he's such a dynamic one-on-one player that you would tend to depend on him a little bit. We depend on him probably a little bit too much.
You won 3 of the 4, the one loss being an overtime buzzer-beating loss. Are you playing at a higher level overall, do you think?
Playing together, still not where we need to be in certain situations, but playing pretty well together. I like the toughness factor in certain situations where, last year and 2 years ago, we get bumped, get hit, wouldn't respond or make a bad play, turnover, wouldn't get back, wouldn't respond on the defensive end. So those kind of maturity plays we're making now, if you want to call it that. But the physicality doesn't bother us as much. Now watch we go out here tonight and Kendrick Perkins sets a screen. But no, we've grown up from that standpoint. And learning how to win is huge. DeMar DeRozan's our star. He's never been to the playoffs. He's really been the guy on the team in this growth process. So he's learning how to win, and I think that's a huge step in his career.
You guys took the challenge in Dallas. Do you expect you will tonight on the road?
Well, we better. It'd be embarrassing if we don't, because this team is one of the most potent offensive teams there is. They thrive on you throwing the ball away, not taking care of the basketball. I call it when you turn it over, it's a jailbreak. It's like, shot out of a cannon. And, Miami had that the first year they were together, and this team has it now. If you don't take care of the ball, it's transition, and I don't care how good your transition defense is. And last time I checked, I think we're in the top 5 in the league. You can't control that. So we've got to come in attention to taking care of the ball first, getting back, and getting our defense set.
Talk about them creating turnovers. Everybody looks at their offense. It's a pretty good defensive team over there, too.
Oh, unbelievable. Their length, everybody's tied in. They've been together for a while. They know each other. They know they have the same principles, and it's just automatic for them now. Nobody has to think about anything. They're good on both sides of the ball, but their defense is underrated.
Some people are saying this might be the best Thunder team that they've had here in Oklahoma City. I know you don't get to see them as much as you used to when you were in Dallas. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it is. The only thing, and last night it was they shot the 3, and now they're shooting the 3 ball now. And last night they shot lights out. They hadn't been up till last night. And that would be the only difference. But there's, the maturity that Kevin Durant has made, Russell Westbrook has made from the days I was in Dallas, just watching those guys grow is unbelievable. And everybody wants the championship yesterday, but this team I've watched it grow from scratch. 19 wins, whatever it was that first year. And Scotty's done an unbelievable job, and the whole organization's done an unbelievable job of growing this franchise from scratch.
With the level. You talked about the toughness factor. Looks like Valanciunas has embraced that, but who else?
You got the name right, Brian. I like that. No, he's his second year. He really hadn't had 2 full years yet, so he's learning the NBA, different from the European game. He's growing from that standpoint. He's not a soft kid. He's a tough kid, but just learning the speed of the NBA game and knowing how to use his toughness has been his challenge. But I'm watching him grow every day. I think he has grown, and the future is going to be his. Great hands, great feel for the game. Again, just adjusting like most rookies. everybody would expect him to be an all-star. Not going to happen. Not his first year, second year. He has so much to learn. But if we're patient with him, we're going to continue to work with him. The sky's the limit for the young man.
The level those 2 point guards are playing at, Westbrook and Jackson, the way they play them together, do you adjust to that in the backcourt?
Well, we're going to keep our same rotations. I mean, we have to make adjustments. Certain matchups we have to look at with certain adjustments. We can't just put anybody out there on guarding Durant. Just can't put anybody out there guarding Westbrook. So we have to make certain personnel adjustments to adjust them because they're such superior players. We have to do certain things defensively because they're superior players. And if you don't have the advantage, you gotta adjust. You can't be stubborn or hard-headed if you don't have the advantage.
The addition of Salmons, does that help give you an extra
Yes,
person to throw at
It does. It really does, Josh. It does. Gives us another body. We're going to see if other people can guard him. I think Amir has demonstrated he can guard some perimeter players. How long that would be, I don't know. But we have some different people we can, put on him to watch him.
Coach, the other guys, you talk about Westbrook and Durant, but the other guys, Jackson, Ibaka, the other guys seem to be, as you say, Scott's got them in roles right now, and everybody seems to understand where they're going.
And everybody forgets about Nick Collison, who is a pro's pro glue guy, could start for probably 29 other teams in the league. Comes off the bench. Reggie Jackson could start for a lot of teams in the league. He is one of the bona fide point guards in the league right now. And I just can't sing his praises enough, as far as how he has grown and developed into a point guard. His speed and quickness, his three-point shooting, his size is an issue that you have to deal with that they've added to that team and grown, from within. So, again, they present a lot of different problems. We have to go out and my thing is our disposition. We can't go out, get punched, and stay down. We didn't in Dallas. I don't see why tonight has to be any difference. But, again, this team is probably one of the top teams in the league. But this gives us a little measuring stick of how far we have to go, what we need to do, and where we are right now.
Dwayne, you said you agreed with Perkins on the locker room flap early in the week. Can you talk about the sanctity of the locker room?
I do. I don't go and police who's in the locker room, but I think you have to have some sanctity. I have a lot of friends in the NBA, but I don't like buddy before the game. After the game, I don't, the guy's trying to take your livelihood. I mean, I don't know to what extent what happened in the locker room. I wasn't there, but the fraternization is a fine line in the NBA. Guys are friends, guys are buddies, but the locker room is your home, and that's where things stay in, and you're together in there, and I would be against it. We don't have a rule of players coming up, but I don't like it, and we don't have a rule for it in our locker room. But I agree with Perk on that, and how you police it is a different story.
Throughout your years, what are some of the biggest do's and don'ts that you might have come across or remember stand out maybe?
That's one. Getting guys shoes, that used to be a big one back in the late 90s. Guys giving, like Michael Jordan or a star player giving out his shoes or sending the ball boy back to his shoes. That's a stretch. Why would you need another player's shoes? If you're using it for an auction or a donation, that's one thing. But to get an autographed shoe from another player was one that I thought was like, whoa. But, you have a lot of things, but fraternization is something you can't stop it because guys are friends in the summertime. They live in the same cities in the summertime. But for 2 hours a night or while you're at this arena, they're the guys just trying to take your livelihood away from you or trying to keep you from being successful. And he should be. And that's what the game is about. And, you can be friends after the game or whatever. I don't have a problem with that.
So there you go, Dwayne Casey, the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, and Scotty Brooks, of course, before that. Thunder have a chance to set an all-time franchise record tonight for consecutive wins to start the season. They're at 13 right now. 14 would set the record, and they've also, of course, won 17 out of their last 18 games. Toronto, interestingly enough, has a better record on the road than they do at home, and they won 3 straight road games. They came back the other night from 19 down to beat the Dallas Mavericks. So this won't be that easy of a contest tonight here for the Thunder. Should be interesting. We'll be here for post-game as well. Our cameras will be inside the locker room, so check back at ThunderGameReport.com.